Hello and welcome to the Psychic Side here on the A1R Psychic Radio Network, Moonstruck TV, Lightning TV, and a bunch of other places. We'd like to welcome you to our program, and we'd like to welcome especially our new listeners, our viewers, wherever you are taking in our program. We're the Psychic Side, and the reason why we have the name of our program is because I like to present things a little bit from a psychic's perspective. And I think that that's a good thing to know because my show is about educating people about what psychic ability is and how to use it effectively. And I hope that you can get a few tips from me. And if you want to share some of your tips, then you're welcome to do so on our program. I'm a purist. I'm somebody that doesn't like to necessarily use any kind of tools. I am an astrologer. I do read tarot, but we have such great tarot card readers here on this network, and other people that do so well with that medium or that type of tool that I feel like it's best I just do what I do best, which is use my psychic abilities. I'd like to welcome you to call into our program. We'll be happy to give you a brief reading and open things up for other people if they'd like to have me do a reading for them. Or if you want something a little bit more private, then you can just go to my website at johncappello.com, go to the booking tab, and you can get an astrological reading or sign up for one there or a psychic reading. Now, just to let you know a little bit more about me, I want to go ahead and let you know that a few things that I do. I do travel around the country. I travel mainly around Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Kansas, and this past weekend I was in Lubbock, Texas, and I was at the Purple Mandrake. I was visiting Keith and Kendra Graham's store, and we had a very interesting weekend. And what I found was we had a lot of people that were just driving in from California and also from New Mexico. It's quite an honor when people do that, to come to visit me and see my work. And I always hope that I do a good job, but they keep coming, so I'm really happy about that. I want to today, and we'll go to a caller here in just a moment. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the different types of senses that we have, at least from my perspective. And we have three types of senses. We have our physical senses, we have our psychic senses, and then we have our remote psychic senses. And I want to talk a little bit about those and explain to you what I mean. So before we get into that, let's go to our first caller, Suzette in Barrie, Ontario, Canada. So Suzette, are you there?
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Suzette, have you been crying? Has there been some type of sadness around you?
There has been.
Okay, is this about a man?
It is.
Okay, is this a husband or a father?
It's a husband.
Husband, I'm very sorry that has he passed away?
No,
Okay.
I don't know if he wants to separate.
Okay. I'm going to just tell you, I don't think so. At least that's not my feeling, because I feel like that there is value in the relationship. I'm glad you kind of brought up this issue because, a lot of times it's hard for people to negotiate or learn to work with each other. And I'm not here to give marriage counseling, but it just seems to me that on both sides there might need to be a little bit of understanding and maybe a willingness to work things out. And so I feel like you're probably a little more on that side than he is. But I do feel like he feels that the relationship and marriage is worth it. And I wasn't quite sure if he was in spirit or if he had just left. But But as far as my perspective, I feel like this relationship is worth working on. So how's that? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to find out.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, thank you very much for your call.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Bye-bye. I want to get back to a couple of the other things that we were talking about prior to our caller. I just want to know also this weekend, I'm going to Oklahoma, so I'm a busy bee. I will be in Midwest City, Oklahoma. I'll be at Nature's Treasures. I'll be there all weekend. I'll be doing my usual pattern of the Spirit Gallery, private readings, and Aura camera. A lot of times when I go to places, I will do I'll do a workshop, and so you'll hear me talk about doing different workshops because I have a group of uh, workshops that I call Metaphysics for Life. And so I teach astrology. I'll teach even palmistry. I teach about crystals. I teach a lot about different subjects. And I go to places that they may not have those things offered to them. And if the taboo about metaphysics or working with psychics is in that town, I want to reassure people that there's nothing bad about what we're doing. We're just talking about crystals, or we're just talking about looking at the lines on your hands, and there's nothing about anything inappropriate there. But oh gosh, before I forget, I have a meetup this weekend. I mean, this Wednesday night. It's going to be at the La Madeleine French Cafe in Flower Mound, Texas. It'll be my second meetup there. It's going to be about cutting cords and how to work with getting away from an addictive relationship. So it's a little bit in keeping with my book, Open the Mind, Heal the Heart, about how to deal with grief. And we'll do a series of programs on grief as time goes on, but I want to focus on psychic work right now. Now, if we want to go into some of the my philosophy about the types of senses that we have, the physical senses are quite obvious. We all have our sight, we all have our hearing, we have our feelings, we have the sense of smell and taste. And then, you know, I've talked ad nauseum on our program about your psychic senses, and I've taken you through all of them. And I'm even working on a certification program for them. Last week, for instance, I talked about door openers, about how our strongest psychic sense usually is the thing or the sense that initially captures information. And then once it's captured by our soul's energy, it opens the door for our other psychic senses to come in. And we may get a feeling about the impression we received, or we may hear something about it, or we may wind up knowing something about it. So these are things that I would hope that you would be able to relate to, because I'm not sure other people talk about them. You know, I have some students that look at me like, we've never heard these things before. And the same way with my teaching about grief. And so I feel like there's a lot there to be offered. Now, I know I just talked about how to take care of an addictive relationship by cutting cords, which is more in the witchcraft area, but I don't do that. I'm not into that. But there's something that there's similarities there with my work, because I talk about virtue and how being virtuous and taking care of yourself in effect kind of cuts a cord, or cuts a bond that you may have had with someone else. But your psychic senses, as we were talking about, are something that you need to develop as a part of your own growth. Okay, because as we grow and we learn more about ourselves, it's a journey of self-discovery, and we are people that we collect so much data nowadays. We have so many things that are hitting us. We have things, the internet, radio waves, Chinese balloons. Who knows what else is coming to bombard us. But we have so much that needs to be done as far as being in tune with our own psychic abilities, because we are the best antenna of all. And if you don't pay attention to the signals that your soul is giving you, it can be a disaster. For instance, if listening to your psychic senses or paying attention to them when you have a first impression. So many times we don't pay attention to our first impressions, and later on we regret it. So it's best to at least just pause and take a deep breath before you buy that bridge in the swampland that person who presents themselves so well is trying to sell you. So the psychic senses are those that are involve information that is solely about us or about a person that we may be working with. And then when you get into mediumship, it's about sensing a presence. But one of the more fascinating things about us is that we have what I call remote psychic senses. And I touched a little bit about that, touched on it when I talked a little bit about claircognizance, because a lot of times the universal mind is part of that remote psychic sense. Because you may be like me, you come up with this great idea about some type of new invention, and then see it advertised on television, and geez, I missed it again. so you might be one of those people that thinks they have a lot of great ideas, and I'm sure you do. But someone else beat you to it. So the collective mind is something that we need to pay attention to. But with the remote psychic senses, we don't just have remote viewing. Remote viewing is the one that is the most talked about, because people continually talk about how the government did remote viewing many, many years ago. And to focus just on remote viewing, I don't think is good. You need to look at it as part of the group of remote psychic senses that you have, because you have remote feelings, you have remote hearing, you have remote smells and tastes, and then we talked a little bit about claircognizance, which has a lot of the remote psychic qualities that I'm speaking of today. So we have another caller, and it's Leah in Sydney. She's in New South Wales, Australia. I don't know if I've ever spoken to one in New South Wales, Australia. So is it Leah? Are you there?
Yes, it is. Yes, hi.
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 Leah, I'm picking up something. Is anything going on between you and your mother?
My mother? Is there something going on between me and my mother?
Pardon me, is your mother still here?
No.
Okay, she's in spirit?
Yes.
Okay, because have you been thinking about her lately or anything? Because her energy is very strong around you. Pardon me?
Yes, I always think of my mother.
You always think about your mother, of course.
Yeah.
Do you have another question that you have for me today? Because Mother wants you to know that she thinks you're doing good. Now, she's also talking about do you like to make things at home, or and she says you like a lot of color around you. Okay, and I just see these things around you, and I just wanted to share it with you because she says that she's doing okay. She says, I know you know that. But she says, thank you for thinking about her. And she says you still giggle at some of the things that happen between the two of you. Is that right?
Yeah, of course. Yes, I do.
Okay. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Did you say you had a question?
No, I was just wondering if there's any other energies around my mother as well, because I've had quite a few people pass. My dad just recently on Christmas Day.
Your father passed on Christmas Day? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Well, I feel like your dad is trying to come in. Your dad looks like he may have had some heart or chest issues, and it just seems like he really didn't want to go, but he may have known it was his time. And your father wants to thank you for asking for him. Okay. Now, was your dad a person that loved dogs?
Yes, he was. Yes.
Okay, because
He had a dog.
he's surrounded by dogs.
Yeah. He had
Okay,
a dog.
he had a dog. Okay, I don't know if these are
He always had
other
dogs.
dogs in spirit that he had around him or what,
Oh,
but
yeah. We always had dogs.
he always had
So
dogs.
he would have
Okay,
a lot up there with him right now.
yeah, he would have, and he does. He has a lot with him right now. So also, I think you have an affinity toward dogs, but I'm not sure if you have one. Do you have one right now?
Yes, I do. I do. That's
You
three.
do. Okay. Okay, but you don't have a bunch of them. You just have one or two.
I have three.
Oh, you have three. Okay, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I guess I'm just seeing one being closer to you than the others. I don't know, but but I want you to know that Dad is here, and you know we. I don't have time to really go through all the people that may have passed
Yeah.
around you, but
Yeah, no.
you're of course welcome to always go to my website for longer reading.
Yeah.
But both parents are here. Mother is kind of the person that wants to be kind of the lead. Okay, I don't know if she was ever that way in life, but but it just seems like Mother was rather verbal, and she was always at the forefront. But also, I think that Dad and you have a strong bond, and that bond is still there. And now, is there a sister?
Yes.
Okay, because he's reaching out to your sister as well, and she's not in spirit, is she?
Yes.
She is. Okay, all right. So he's reaching out to sister because sister has shown up, and he says that he, uh, he's taking care of her. Okay, he's watching over her. Okay, because I think the girl looks like the girls in the family were close to Dad. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you had a good father. I mean, I just want you to know his energy is so kind and good, and he just seems like someone that anyone would like to meet and know. So, so thank you very much for allowing me to read for you today. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. So, I'm told I'm talking fast. I don't mean to talk too fast. So I'll talk slower. Texans are supposed to talk slow, so I'll try to talk slow. But I was talking a little bit about the various senses that we have, and it's something that I would like for you to think about, especially if you're developing your own psychic profile, because as you develop your psychic profile, you're going to have to delineate, the type of psychic sense it is, whether it was the past, whether it was the present that you're seeing around someone, or if it was precognition. And then you need to determine if it was a psychic impression, or if was a physical psychic impression, or was it a remote psychic impression? Um, and I try to be a little bit of a technician when it comes to these things, because as you sort yourself out, so to speak, when you learn about your psychic abilities, you need to know your strengths, and as you develop this profile, you start to see who you are as far as your abilities are concerned, and you can work with your strengths, and then you know how to you see where your weaknesses are, and you can maybe practice or do some exercises to work on those weaknesses, and or at least pay attention, because we all have these abilities. It's just that it just depends on the different degrees. So that's what I'd like for you to do if you are interested in doing those things, because we need to be real sensitive to to our world around us. And hopefully you can kind of see how things work when I do a reading, because when I do a reading, I have different sensations, and one of the first sensations is what kind of reading it is. I get male, female, and then I may get something about the relationship. I get whether or not, or a lot of times I try to discern whether the person is in spirit or not, and then we go from there. But I try to do it in as quickly as I can, because I don't want to hem and haw too much about how these things work and how they go. But you will do that as well. And one thing that I tell my students to do is you need to get readings, okay, if you're developing your own psychic senses, because you learn from the person who's giving you a reading, in addition to when you give a reading, because when you give a reading, you know how things work, but you don't know how the client's taking it. When you receive a reading, you are the client, and you understand where the psychic might be weak, or they may be strong, and that's going to help you with you doing your own readings. Okay, so I still get readings from people, and I learn a little bit more about myself, about my limits when I do that. So I encourage you to do the same. So I'm hoping that we get some more callers in. It's been a great range of callers today. We had one from Canada and one from all the way in Australia. So that's quite amazing. So I'm really happy about that. Oh, so I just found out we just get 2 per show. Okay. Well, we've done the max then. Okay. So that's fine. Okay. I'm continually learning of what I could do and what I can't do. So I'll get the hang of this thing sooner or later. But I just hope to offer you some good information. And like I say, with the program today, I wanted to kind of focus on those 3 types of psychic senses, because it's important to be able to disseminate the psychic senses from the remote psychic senses, because we all know about our own physical senses, and a lot of people don't realize, for instance, that even if you lose a physical sense, you don't lose your psychic sense. So you don't lose your clairvoyance just because you might lose your eyesight. Another thing that people may not realize, and it's caught me by surprise when people have asked me about it, is that if you're not feeling well, you don't lose your psychic senses. They're still there, and they're still just as strong as they ever would be. Now, you may not feel like talking about it. You may not feel like working with someone when you are not feeling well, but they're there. And it's something that you need to realize, and you'll probably notice it as when you start using your own abilities. So it's just important that we pay attention to what's going on around us, and we will we'll continue to talk about these different nuances of psychic ability. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in some of my previous programs, and I'm going to develop, or I'm going to talk a little bit more about the different nuances of each psychic sense. But today I wanted to set kind of the stage for that by talking about the 3 psychic senses, or three types of senses, because I want to try to be as technical with these things as I can, because psychic ability gets a bad rap by so many people. I've been expanding my social media, and the haters have been coming out a little bit, making fun of me about my psychic ability being psycho and all that. So I just laugh about it. But these are people that just don't understand about their own gifts, and the skeptics don't understand about their own gifts, or at least are not open to them. So we hope to change that. We hope to open people's eyes. And as we get more into this new age, Pluto is in Aquarius now. We gotta step it up, because we got a whole new paradigm coming, and it's going to come a lot faster than you think. And it's been kind of churning. It's been churning, and now things are going to come to fruition. They're going to all come to fruition with the robots and the flying cars and the AI and all of these different things. And as human beings, we just have to adapt. And we're going to be on the moon again very soon, and we're going to be on other planets. And your kids or grandkids or great grandkids, those things are going to be normal for them. And so we're going to be, we have to be thinking ahead and using our imagination. So these are things that I hope to talk a little bit more about. So I want to thank all of you for being with me today. Let's see, we have a couple of minutes left, and so I'd like to just talk a little bit about, like I said, what are my upcoming travels. If you're in the Texas area or you're in one of the cities that I'll be visiting, whether it's Midwest City or Houston, which I'll be going to in June, let me know, because I'll be happy to greet you when you come by. So June is just around the corner, just like every other month. We just keep moving on, and so it's always fun to work my circuit here in this region of the United States. So we're getting ready to wrap up our program. I'd like to thank the callers that called in today. I want to thank you for joining us. I want to thank our sponsor, Miracles of Joy, for sticking with us and being with us in this length of time. Be sure to use the PS 0223 promo code if you're buying something online on their website, and you get a 25% discount. So that's pretty good. So if you don't mind, go to my Facebook page, like my Facebook page, and my Instagram page. Now that's something that I've been working on, is my Instagram page. And so we're trying to work on our social media and get things a little more spread out, and get people to know a little bit more about my work. And who knows, I may be coming to your town soon. So once again, this is the Psychic Side here on the A1R Psychic Radio Network, Moonstruck TV, Lightning TV. And this has been our program for today. And thank you so much for joining us. And we will be back next week for another edition of our program. Well, we're going to be, picking another topic about psychic ability that you might not normally talk about so much. So I hope that you enjoy these topics and the minutia that I get into with it. So with that, we're going to say goodbye and thanks again. I'm John Cappello, and this is the Psychic Side. Bye-bye.